There's a massive rumor circulating online about a leaked photo from the set of Avengers Doomsday that might have just laid out the entire ending of the movie. Now, before we go any further, we have to take this with a huge grain of salt. As of right now, this is all based on unverified chatter. But the sources behind it have a pretty compelling track record, and all the pieces seem to fit together in a way that's just too specific to ignore. So, today, we're going to break down what these alleged images supposedly show, connect them to the facts we actually know about the movie, and explore the sprawling theory that the remaining Avengers escaped the total collapse of the multiverse on a mysterious ship. This isn't just about one scene. It's a theory that could explain how Doomsday ends and how Secret Wars begins, effectively resetting the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is your full spoiler warning. If any of this is true, it changes everything. So, let's start with the rumor itself. The whole thing kicked off with a single, unconfirmed behind-the-scenes photo that supposedly surfaced from the Avengers Doomsday set. It's not a crisp, high-res press photo. It looks like a candid shot, maybe taken by a crew member, which gives it a kind of chaotic authenticity. The rumor claims the photo shows a group of characters standing together somewhere that is definitely not Earth. They're on what looks like the bridge of a high-tech ship or a control room surrounded by blue screen, and the crew that's been assembled is bizarre. The story goes that, front and center, you have Eben Moss Backrack in a motion capture suit, who we know is playing Ben Grimm, the Thing. Standing with him is Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon. And next to them, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, the U.S. agent. Right there, you have an unprecedented team-up, a member of the Fantastic Four, one of Sam Wilson's new Avengers, and a key figure from the Thunderbolts, all in the same room. But it gets weirder. The rumor says if you look in the corner of the image, you can just make out a distinctive black and silver boot. The design is unmistakable to fans, the footwear of the Black Panther. With T'Challa gone, that can really only be Letitia Wright as Shuri. So you have the Thing, Falcon, U.S. Agent, and Shuri. 4 heroes from totally different corners of the MCU, some of whom have never met, standing together on some kind of vessel. And the look on their faces, the way they're positioned, it doesn't feel like the start of a mission. It feels like the end of one. It feels like they're watching something catastrophic. The design of the set itself is another big part of the rumor. There's a control console that looks incredibly retro, almost analog, with chunky buttons and old-school monitors. This specific look doesn't really match most of the tech we've seen in the MCU, except for one very specific, very important place. This detail has sent fan theorists into a spiral, because if this image is real, where they are and why they are there could change everything we think we know about the multiverse saga. So if we entertain this rumor, the first question is, where are they? Online speculation has pretty much split into 2 camps. The first, and maybe more obvious theory, is that they're on the Fantastic Four's ship, the Excelsior. There's a separate, unconfirmed rumor that we might see this ship rocketing towards Earth in the post-credits scene of Thunderbolts. This would make a certain amount of sense. A crossover with the Fantastic Four would logically involve their main ride. But there's a second, more compelling theory that points to a different location entirely, one that transforms this from a simple team-up into a multiversal cataclysm. That theory is that they aren't on a spaceship at all. They're inside the Time Variance Authority. Let's look at the clues from the rumor. That retro console design is the biggest giveaway. The TVA, as we saw in both seasons of Loki, has a very specific analog futurism style. It's a bureaucracy outside of time, and its tech reflects that. Old CRT monitors, clunky keyboards, and physical buttons right alongside reality-bending technology. The console in the rumored photo supposedly fits this design language perfectly. And this isn't just wild speculation. There are other unconfirmed reports and set photo rumors that the TVA is a major location in Avengers Doomsday, with some claiming that the entrance to the temporal loom was being built for the film. That's the heart of the TVA, where Loki became the god of stories to hold the multiverse together. Its presence in Doomsday wouldn't be a coincidence. It would signal that the fate of the multiverse and Loki's sacrifice is central to the plot. So why would these specific heroes be at the TVA? Why would Falcon, the Thing, US Agent, and Shuri be gathered at the center of all time and space? The theory suggests they're not there to fight. They're there to witness the end of everything. They're at the TVA because the TVA is ground zero for the collapse of reality. Loki's sacrifice wasn't a permanent solution. It was a temporary fix. And in Avengers Doomsday, that fix is about to come undone. This scene isn't a meeting. It's an observation deck for the apocalypse. But that brings up an even bigger question. Why these specific heroes? If the multiverse is collapsing, why them? This is where the theory moves from analyzing online rumors to connecting with one of the most important Marvel comics of the last 2 decades, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars. To get the theory, you have to understand the idea of a life raft. In the Secret Wars comic, the multiverse is dying from incursions, universes crashing into each other and being annihilated. Reed Richards and the heroes of Earth. 616 realize they can't stop the final incursion that will destroy their reality. So Reed does the only thing he can. He builds a ship, a life raft, designed to survive the destruction of everything and carry a small group of survivors into the void that comes after. Now, think back to that rumored photo. A small group of heroes from different corners of Earth gathered on a vessel witnessing a multiversal cataclysm. The theory that has absolutely taken over the internet is that this isn't just any ship or TVA room, it's the MCU's version of the life raft. This theory makes so much sense. It connects a lot of loose threads and addresses that feeling that the multiverse saga has been a bit disconnected. Suddenly, it all clicks. Avengers. Doomsday could be about the final, unstoppable incursions. The heroes will try to fight, but they will fail. The title, Doomsday, might not be about the monster, but about a final day of judgment for the entire multiverse. In the film's final act, as the timelines held together by Loki finally shatter, a small group of heroes makes it to this life raft. The heroes in that photo, the Thing, Falcon, US Agent, Shuri, they're the survivors. They are watching their entire reality. The MCU we've known since 2008 get erased. It would be a somber, terrifying ending, even bigger than the snap. Instead of losing half of all life, they lose all of reality itself. And if reality is being destroyed, you have to ask, who has the power to do that? Who is the architect of this destruction? So if the multiverse is collapsing and our heroes are escaping on a life raft, who's the one behind it all? The title is Doomsday. But as we've said, that might not mean a monster. It could mean a day of doom. For months, the biggest question was how Marvel would pivot after moving on from Kang. At San Diego Comic-Con 2024, they gave us the answer. The Russo brothers, confirmed to be directing both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, came on stage. They announced the villain of this epic would be none other than Victor Von Doom. And then, they dropped the bombshell. He would be played by Robert Downey Jr. Let's be clear about what this means. This isn't a Tony Stark variant. It's Robert Downey Jr., the man who built the MCU, returning to play its greatest villain. The meta-narrative of that casting is genius, but the story implication is what really matters. The shift from the Kang Dynasty to Doomsday was a massive change to center this entire saga not on a time conqueror, but on the master of science and sorcery, Dr. Doom. So how does he fit in? In the Secret Wars comics, Doom doesn't just watch the incursions happen. He confronts the Beyonders, the beings responsible for the destruction, and through pure intellect and will, he kills them and steals their power. With the power of a god, Doom salvages the dying fragments of broken realities and stitches them together into a single patchwork planet, Battleworld, with one ruler, God, Emperor, Doom. This is the role RDJ has stepped into. Avengers, Doomsday won't just be about heroes reacting to the end. It will be about them facing the man who is seizing control of it. Rumors suggest Doom's motivation is a hatred for the TVA and their artificial control of reality. He might see the multiverse's collapse not as a tragedy, but as an opportunity to impose his own order. He is the Doomsday event. And that final scene of our heroes on the life raft isn't just them escaping a natural disaster. It's them escaping him. Okay, we've gone through the unverified leak, the life raft theory, and the confirmed arrival of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. But how does this all lead into Avengers Secret Wars? If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to see how we think all these dots connect, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. All right, let's put all the pieces together. This is where all the threads, the rumors, the comics, the confirmed news all come together into one theory for the most ambitious finale in movie history. The structure seems to mirror Infinity War and Endgame, and with the Russos directing both, we can expect a story that flows directly from one film into the next. Here's how the theory goes. Avengers Doomsday, set for December 18th, 2026, will be this saga's Infinity War. It's a tragedy. The film will show the final incursions tearing the multiverse apart. We might even see heroes from different realities fighting each other, each thinking the other is the cause of their world's destruction, an idea from the comics that has been heavily rumored. But all of it will be for nothing. The real conflict will be the heroes realizing they are powerless to stop the end. While this is happening, Dr. Doom is making his move, gathering power and positioning himself to be the sole beneficiary of the collapse. He sees himself as the only one with the will to save anything from the wreckage. The climax of Doomsday will be the final incursion. The sacred timeline, our MCU, is destroyed. The final haunting scene will be the one from the rumor. A small group of heroes, Falcon, US Agent, The Thing, Shuri, and probably a few others boarding the life raft. They watch in horror as their universe dissolves into nothing. The screen cuts to black, leaving audiences in a state of shock even greater than the end of Infinity War. Then, 1 year later, Avengers Secret Wars arrives on December 17th, 2027. This is the endgame. The film opens with the life raft arriving in a strange new reality, Battleworld. It's a patchwork planet made of dead universes, all held together by the absolute power of its creator and ruler, God, Emperor, Doom. The survivors from the life raft are the only ones who remember the world that was. To everyone else on Battleworld, Doom is gone. Our heroes are fugitives in a world ruled by their nemesis, populated by fragmented versions of people they knew. They could run into a Thor Corps police force or domains ruled by different barons, just like in the comics. The plot of Secret Wars becomes the rebellion. The survivors have to convince the people of Battleworld that their reality is a lie, and their god is a tyrant. They have to find a way to challenge a fully powered Dr. Doom. Doomsday is about the destruction of the old world. Secret Wars is about the battle for the soul of the new one. So what's the point of all this? This two-part epic isn't just an ending, it's a total reset. Many believe these films will serve as a new beginning for whatever comes next. Battleworld is the ultimate narrative tool for a soft reboot of the entire MCU. By destroying the old timeline, Marvel gives themselves a blank slate. They can bring in any character from any previous Marvel movie, the Fox X-Men, Sony Spider-Verse heroes, anyone, and it makes perfect sense. They are all just inhabitants of different fragments of reality that were destroyed and then salvaged by Doom. This solves the problem of integrating mutants and other characters. You don't have to explain where they've been. They were in their own universes, which are now part of Battleworld. It allows for dream matchups that were impossible before. More importantly, it could address the growing feeling of narrative fatigue. After so many films and shows, the MCU's continuity is a lot to keep up with. By wiping the slate clean, Marvel can make everything feel fresh again. The stakes are new. The rules are new. When Secret Wars ends, likely with the heroes overthrowing Doom and creating a new, singular multiverse, the MCU that comes out the other side could be fundamentally different. The biggest question Doomsday would leave us with is a tantalizing one. Who else is on that life raft? We hear about 4 heroes in the rumor, but surely there are more. Is Sam Wilson on board? Is Thor there? Did Peter Parker make it on at the last second? The members of that crew will be the ones to lead the charge against God Emperor Doom and become the founding heroes of a brand new MCU. So, to put it all together, a wild but compelling online rumor suggests that Avengers Doomsday ends with a small group of heroes escaping the destruction of their reality on a life raft. This apocalypse, likely orchestrated by Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom, serves as an Infinity War-style cliffhanger. It leads directly into Avengers Secret Wars, where the survivors must lead a rebellion against God Emperor Doom on his patchwork planet of Battleworld. While this is still just a theory built on rumors, it lines up perfectly with the confirmed news about Doom and the Russo brothers, the title change to Doomsday, and the epic Secret Wars comic storyline. It would be a dramatic and devastating arc for the finale of the multiverse saga, paying off threads from Loki and setting the stage for a bold new era of Marvel. But what do you think? Do you believe the rumors? Do you buy the life raft theory? And the biggest question, who else do you think makes it onto that ship? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.